Holy reverse polarity. This is Flight Check Season 2, Episode 10. We are back once again talking FlyQuest in every single capacity possible. A rough week, bit of a false start, quarantined ourselves within our drafts. I'm trying to make some quarantine COVID jokes here, basically, to soften the blow of the 0-2 week. Not the most exciting thing to have when you are still facing down both Cloud9 and Team Liquid. But we'll get into all of that later. My name is Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left, back again, are my fellow hosts Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Curly, welcome back to the show one more time. Great to have you back from your vacation. How was it? Where did you go? Tennessee, right?
Yeah, I went to Tennessee. I was down in the Great Smokies, and oh my goodness, it was so nice. You know, I wore my FlyQuest shirt on a nice hike, and I think it gave them a nice buff into Sunday, helping them round out their 2-0 week that I didn't get to witness because I wasn't there to watch LCS.
Yeah, the 2-0 week that definitely happened for the boys. I mean, in my opinion, this week does not count. It's just a fake week. We had to play from home. The coaches and the staff, had COVID. And I think I do want to address that. Nox, I know you did too.
Yeah.
Nox, I mean, in my opinion, when the press release went out, and let me just note once again, the press release going out 5 minutes before game time / broadcast, getting a little old. These 5-minute press releases would prefer a little bit more notification before that happens. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like
part of me feels
that
I think it was like a last minute thing, kind of, because you look at the press release, they're like, we apologize to Riot and like all the other different stuff. So it almost sounds like, because they were like, it is inconvenience to Riot, whereas I don't know, I kind of got a feeling it was like a last second, like, oh crap, we can't go.
Yeah,
it was very sudden.
It definitely seems like something that occurred on the Friday, or even like the day of, and obviously we don't know who. It says like coaching managerial staff, I believe, in the press release. So
yeah,
I don't want to like say any names. We don't know, who it was, and it doesn't even really matter. But you can, when it says coaching managerial staff, you can only imagine who that might be. Certain names come to mind. So best wishes to those folks. Hope there's no significant symptoms. Hope they heal up all right, and we can get everyone back to the stage next week. But Nox, I mean, I just want to hear from you. First off, how much do you think this actually affected our performance? Playing from home, it's still tournament realm, so the ping is, not like, there's no like ping advantage, right? Like 100 Thieves and CLG didn't have a ping advantage or anything weird. But maybe it does affect like, oh, now maybe, whoever's running draft has to do it from home, and maybe they're feeling under the weather, and so their mental strength isn't all there. I'm just completely speculating, but I mean, what are your thoughts on this here?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that it wasn't what caused us to go 0-2, but it definitely was a factor in the 0-2. And I mean, it's something that needs to be addressed, because I think it kind of sucks that we did play from home and we just didn't look as good. And I think part of the reason is because we were playing from the facility, from home, wherever it may be. So I'm not blaming the losses on it, but it's something that I do feel needs to be acknowledged.
For sure, because I think something that might happen is like, you get in a different mindset if you're getting on stage for a game than if you're just kind of in your, just in the facility.
Your apartment or facility, yeah.
Definitely.
Because in the facility, you're usually just screaming there, so you take it seriously, but it's different. But I don't think it had a major impact. on our gameplay. I think there's a lot more to be talked about aside from that, but it's like, it might be a small little seed of problem.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you guys are hearing some weird clicking feedback getting in my ears, but all right, whatever. We'll just go with it. Yeah, so rough O2 week, and we'll get into remaining strength of schedule, previewing week 7. We'll do all of that. But suffice it to say, Curly, I'm going to make a statement here, and I want to know if you agree with it. We did not do ourselves any favors. This is a very soft statement, but we didn't do ourselves any favors by dropping these games, especially dropping the CLG game. I would say this is a game that we are, on paper, expected to win. And then the 100 Thieves game, a little bit more up in the air. They haven't really shown full strength yet, I would say. They're kind of starting to ramp up maybe a bit, maybe not, who knows. But it feels like this is a week we should have at least tried to take advantage of.
This is a week where minimum should have been 1-1. We shouldn't lose to CLG. And admittedly, I'm rather embarrassed that we did. And that's not something I think I've ever said about FlyQuest. And so, especially watching it today, the way we lost, it was just... I didn't like it at all. So, from that is just inherently... It's a bad start to the week. And then, in my head, we should win against 100 Thieves, because we 2-0'd them the rest of this season, and they've had a lot more consistency issues than our team has, because we had the 1 week, Super Week was rough for us, but then and we were fine, and overall we've been a lot more consistent, even ramping strengths of schedules each round robin. So we should have beaten 100 Thieves hands down, and that just didn't happen. So this is a rather disappointing week for me personally as a FlyQuest fan, especially with that CLG loss. Man. I think there's a lot of tough conversations that need to be had over this week, just to be all right, how do we prevent something like that happening again?
Yeah, totally. Knox, do you have any... You look like you had a thought there, maybe.
So this is just kind of a general overview, not necessarily anything specific, but something of interest while looking at the patch notes is the 2 weeks that we've crapped the bed the hardest, so Super Week and this week, have also been the very first weeks of a new patch. Week 4 Super Week was the very first week of 12.4, and then this past week was the very first week of 12.5. So I'm kind of wondering if part of it is just us not adjusting to the patches all that well, partially. I don't think that's another, the reason why we lost, or the reason why we're going 0-3 and 0-2, but part of it, I'm starting to notice a lot of factors kind of adding up here. We've been sick, and then now we're hitting a new patch that particular week as well. There's kind of compounding factors here that I'm starting to notice a little bit.
Yeah, and compounding factors suddenly lead to being unprepared, not having enough, practice on certain things, pulling out bait picks that, look good in scrims but never work out on stage. You should know what I'm talking about here. And, worrying trend is what I would, to bring back an old meme from, I don't know, when was the worrying trend meme a thing? 2016, 2017, sometime like that?
Sometime around
that was a long time ago meme. One other final point I want to make before we get into the recap. I was listening to most of the JLXP today, and Jat was discussing with Freak about how the way the league is going right now, you've got TL and C9 running away at the top, right? C9 with 11 wins, TL now with 10. And you've almost got a similar situation. Jat likened it to the year that TSM went 17-1 and Immortals went 16-2. And that year, there was, I think, a tie for 6th and 6th place to get into playoffs, that tie was 8 and 10. So if we see a similar, and that's just because those top 2 teams won so much that it just pushed everyone else so far down the win column. So we might be approaching a similar vector here, where it only takes 8 wins and 8 wins to sneak into playoffs and 9 to really assure yourself a spot. Which I want to note, we're only 1 or 2 games off of that mark, so could be in a decent spot. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. We really want to, minus when we play them, we really want TL and Cloud9 to keep winning.
Right.
It'll help us a lot.
Yes, we would love for them to keep dominating. That'd be fantastic.
I mean, admittedly, I don't anticipate C9 dropping a single game the rest of the split.
Yeah, I would be honestly surprised. Quick reminder, we usually don't call out subs on the show just to keep our discussion flow going, but we will read them off at the end. Thank you to the folks who have been subbing recently. Really appreciate it. It's basically our Get Curly to Houston Finals fund at this point. So if you have like your Prime, go drop him your Prime on his channel, twitch.tv/Curly_QQ. Is there another underscore?
Nah, that's just the one.
Okay, so Curly_QQ. Drop your Prime there, and then drop the tier 1 here, and we'll just pool it all together, and we'll get him down to Houston for the finals.
We'll have a live flight check.
Yeah, we'll have a live flight check if that occurs. If you cannot catch all of the show tonight, the VoD will be available here on Twitch, also on YouTube on our channel Flight Check Podcast, and the audio version will be available on all of your favorite listening platforms as well. All right, let us get into it, starting with the recap of the CLG, our game against Clutch Luger Gaming. Bit of a weird one here. General overview, CLG kind of gets some early leads. They get some picks. Luger starts running away with the game. And we'll get into the specifics. We kind of start looking like a bit of a comeback is possible. Don't call it a comeback because they just rush Baron late and start closing the game out from there. C'est la vie. All right, the pick bans. Lot to go in here, I think, and I'll just run over all of it real quick. So we banned Ryze, Yuumi, Diana. They banned Hecarim, Lee Sin, Jinx, so some Jose Deodo priority on that bans. We first pick the Zeri. This is important. We first pick the Zeri, and then equally important, they take Nautilus, Kai'Sa. We respond with Renata, Volibear, and they take Trundle, so after first pick phase, bot lanes and jungles are picked. They ban Ahri, thank God. We ban Camille, they ban Zillion, we ban Gwen. They take the TF in mid as the blind. We counter with Syndra, blind the Tryndamere, and then they counter pick the top lane with Kled. My first note here is not about the Zeri, surprisingly. This was another game where it felt like we did not respect the comfort pick for the bot lane, a la when we let Berserker have Aphelios, if you'll recall, because we were like, oh, we can handle it. And we thought, oh, we can handle Luger's Kai'Sa. And then we got punished, and he just kind of ran the game over. And then he did it again against Golden Guardians the day after. It was just absolutely nasty on the Kai'Sa in that game as well. And I think it might start with some of the bans. I don't understand the Diana ban. Nox, how are you feeling about this draft? The bits and pieces here.
The Diana ban, I feel like has to just be something from scrims, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt. There was probably something in scrims that were like, we just don't want to deal with this. As for the Kai'Sa, I think this kind of goes back to my little point that I made earlier of we just aren't up to snuff on the new patch notes because we were prioritizing Zeri, who got nerfed and did not really look all that good this weekend on a large majority of the teams that played her, not just us. Kaisa came through, who wasn't really touched at all as far as I'm aware, but has always still relatively been strong. So, it's frustrating because these are things that obviously there's stuff in scrims, like teams are keeping stuff secret. I don't know how well known around the scrim community Luger's Kaisa is known to be. Obviously, you watch it on Sunday, it's like, okay, maybe it was clearly something that should have been banned, but I just don't know the knowledge of what FlyQuest knew and didn't know for like, what picks and bans should look like. So from my perspective, the one thing I wish we would have focused on was like you said, you don't want to focus on the Zeri. I actually do want to focus on the Zeri. I think it was a little over prioritized.
Okay.
Do I still think it's a good pick? Absolutely, but maybe not first pickable.
Totally. No, I think that's fair. I was kind of skipping over the Zeri just to get to
focus on the Kaisa, which was very scary.
Focus on giving up the Kaisa. But yeah, the first pick Zeri, not a big fan of it, especially when, and we saw it in both this game and the Sunday game, and I'm about to sneeze any moment, so I'll mute my mic, but just didn't feel like it really did anything. And especially also the Renata, the ults did not feel very impactful. I didn't see a lot of the utility really do anything. Like the bailout, right? Everyone like freaked out when they saw the bailout, tooltip description, because like, oh my god, it's another revive, and like it just I never saw it actually revive anyone. The couple Renata ults I saw, I mean, Kobe and Flowers were even joking about how it hit the Trundle. The Trundle did the single bonk. and that was about it. That was about it. And it's like this ulti is sold as like this crazy thing that will make your opponents duel to the death or something. But instead it feels just like a piece of disengage, which it is. It's a great disengage tool, maybe even an engage tool, but
it scales great going into late game because obviously the enemy team's strong at that point, but at least in the early and mid game it's more of just a disengage tool.
But then the ADC has cleanse and just holds it up for when you ult them anyway, so they don't accidentally get a triple kill on their own team.
Exactly. Yeah, so it just felt kind of useless. Curly, so I do want to note Kumo did get counterpicked here.
Yes.
And then managed to actually do pretty well in this lane. This was like the one bright spot I saw, was that he got counterpicked, and I wouldn't say he like stomped the lane, but he kind of won it in a way.
He had full control.
He had full control. Yeah.
What it is here, what I see is CLG knowing that the second he locked in Tryndamere, he was going to win lane. And so the counterpick of Kled is meant to be a nuisance, meant to be annoying. Because what I consistently saw, and I know everyone else saw, is good pushes, like good attempts on Jenkins' life that just barely didn't make it. And so then he has to back off. Like lots of good starts, but then suddenly he's like not able to gap close all the way because he's jumping away now that Skarl's all the way gone. Or he's able to put out just enough damage to get right back on Skarl. So all that damage that Kumo put out means nothing now. So that's what this was. It was because Kled is a relatively fast champ compared to other top laners, especially in the early game because of Skarl. So it's like he was more of a nuisance than anything for the early game. And then later, he is a great engage tool with that ult, where he can just appear out of nowhere, leaving a trail for your team to run up with. And just like knock up, and you can mess a lot of teams up with a well-timed Kled ult. So like at first I was doubting it because you don't really see Kled ever in like pro play, and I want to say this is the first time this season anyone has picked Kled in the LCS. And so kudos to CLG for that draft idea. It worked out real well for them and inhibited Kumo from being able to run away with the game. If you gave Jenkins anything else, like I want to say I saw them hover Jace for a second. I could be wrong.
It was for a brief second, yeah, they did.
If they gave him Jace, we win this game easily because Kumo wins lane and 1v9. You know? Because a fed Kumo, I think, would be able to take down Luger at least before, like, I don't know, 25 minutes. But obviously that didn't happen, so yeah.
It
That's
obviously
my thoughts
did not.
on the top lane.
Yeah, totally fair. All right, let's get into the game recap itself.
So I have another jungle highlight like I did for Xerxes, but this time for contracts.
Yeah, talk about that, because he gets that first... He basically facilitates that first blood for the Kaisa at 3 minutes. Right after, I will say, Kumo got double sums off of Jenkins at 2:30, both the flash and the exhaust, which was really great to see. And I was like, oh, sweet, we're stomping top lane this game. That's real good to see. And then Contracts just ganked 30 seconds later and got a kill for Luger. And I was like, oh, well,
yeah.
GG. Good luck at McDonald's, you know.
So I really... Fair play to Contracts. He's probably been the worst jungler in the LCS so far this split. But this was I don't know if it was a team call or a him call, but it was a very, very well done call. So he starts topside. He clears his red buff and his raptors, and he starts heading down. He clears his wolves. And at this point, he skips his blue. And FlyQuest, the bot lane, is currently trying to shove into turret to get it to bounce back so they can get a wave reset and have it nice be like right perfectly center of the lane, right? And that way, if any ganks come in right around the time where Contracts would normally be finishing his blue buff, they can easily still retreat. But Contracts, and I guess maybe the bot lane realizes, hey, they're shoved up. You skip your blue buff right here. They're not expecting the timing. You come in, you get the gank, it's GG. And that is exactly what happened. The bot lane just had no idea that Contracts was going to skip his blue buff and came in an extra like 20 to 30 seconds sooner than what they were expecting. So more than it's really, really, really good pathing for Contracts. And it kind of blows for Jose because he clears from bot side going up. And at this point, there's nothing to do because Kumo, unfortunately, had that whole skirmish where he blew both summoners from Jenkins. But he had to reset at that point, so there was nothing to do in the top lane. Contracts' jungle on the top side's already been cleared, and Takui had already started roaming down, so there was nothing to be done in mid lane. Like, there was nothing for Jose to do. And it was just a really unfortunate series of events. So while, like, not taking away from Kumo, it's kind of funny, but actually doing that kind of, in a sense, didn't give Jose anything to do. He cleared his jungle. He couldn't go invade the enemy's jungle. He couldn't help out his top lane because he was back resetting, and then Takui had roamed down to try and cover that whole gank that had just happened. So, but I just really wanted to highlight Contracts there, or that team call, because it was what got their bot lane going.
Yeah, no, I think it was a really good... It was a great gank. It looked really good. And then at 7:15, I think we... No, we did not go for a gank mid. Jenkins comes down with the Kled ulti, and he and Palafox try to go in. Takui manages to get out. He actually got out pretty well, I would say.
Oh, yeah, very easily.
He did really well. But then you pan down to bot lane. Both Contracts and Jose are there. And then Afro is kind of just too far up, basically. I think he was trying to bait out and engage, it kind of looked like. He gets picked, and then Palafox just TF ultis down, like right on top of him. Gold card stuns him, easy kill. And yeah, so losing more in the bot lane, and I think just from there, the pieces just started to fall apart here and there. I mean, Curly, did you have? Oh, if you had more notes here, Knox, go ahead, please.
I kind of backtracking a little bit, just really quick, but do we know if Takui plays Silas?
I mean, I don't know. We could,
I don't know.
you know,
So
Games of Legends, please. Tell me.
It was not banned. TF
Yeah.
was picked first, and they picked the Syndra into it. Sylas is a great pick in the TF. Not only because it wins lane, but you can also steal his ult and make your own teleport play.
I mean, look at the rest of their ultis as well that you can steal. You've got Kai'Sa
there's
ult,
Kai'Sa
ult, Nautilus ult, Trundle ult,
yeah,
TF
there are
ult, Kled
a lot
ult.
of great ultimates for Sylas.
That is that's a fantastic. Yeah, Sylas is a great pick here. Actually, you're right.
It was something that I was thinking about watching the draft. I was like, you could plug Sylas here, and it'd be beautiful.
Let's see.
All right, Takui, start practicing your Sylas. We want to see you play every chance ult in the game. Thank you.
He has played in his 3-year career. He has played 2 games of Sylas.
Interesting.
And that is 125 professional games. And now I will note, when I say professional, Season 10 and 11 were in the LFL. Still, like, professional games, right? But
tiers below.
Yeah. So Sylas, 2 games. He has played more games of Tristana mid than he has played Sylas. And if you guys remember, Tristana mid was kind of short-lived.
Yeah, it was basically like a little thing back in summer, right?
Yeah.
Just for like 2 or 3 patches.
I also, dang, this is actually very interesting to note. That Vigar game that he played against 100 Thieves, right? The first one, that's his only professional Vigar game.
All right.
Which is hilarious to me. But basically his main,
for you guys,
like his main champs, we've got Orianna, Syndra, Azir, Zoe, LeBlanc. Like pretty well known.
Control assassin mages.
Yeah. Control stuff. You've got the assassin. Yeah, there. You got like a couple random quirky Cassiopeia games, but yeah, no Sylas. Very little Sylas, and unfortunately 2 Ahri games as well, which we'll get into.
Sorry, gagged a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, for real.
The big things I want to talk about for the rest of this game.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if for those who watch me VoD review, I got annoyed with how stagnant the last 20 minutes of. Because it was on FlyQuest side, I was frustrated with the lack of effective attempts to try and make any play on like catching any CLG member out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just felt like we just kind of sat down and took it as slowly as we possibly could, and didn't try hard for anything. And so that was something rather frustrating to see. And then especially like the 1 kill we got, because I remember we only got 1 kill, right?
I mean, we got a few more
until the catch in the mid game after they'd already taken our inhibs.
Yeah, but okay. Early game we only had the 1 kill until we started the comeback.
Because it was Johnson, which he had a good chase down of contracts. Like he kited him, he followed him, and he made Zeri look like it can do something. And that was the only time all weekend it looked like Zeri could do something. So like kudos to Johnson for looking good in the early game there, but like the rest of it. It was just, yeah, I didn't like that Zeri didn't seem very existent. Renata Glask's whole kit, I couldn't really tell what it was doing. And like I said, ultimately, it just felt like we had kind of given up. And then I was also annoyed with CLG because they had such an obvious lead over us in so many ways. And they just kept not pushing it. And in my, CLG, this stuff is why you are in 9th place. Where you game with us, and you still took the slow route.
Actually, dispute you a little bit, but in the sense of like backing Fly, there's about a 7-minute period where they had 3 or 4 different attempts at engages, and Fly just perfectly like disengaged. Like there was 2 ganks on Takui, and then there was like 1 in the bot lane that they managed to push off as well. So they were trying, and then they finally got it. Like 4th time was the charm, apparently.
Yeah, maybe.
I think, for me personally, my biggest frustration in this game was not feeding resources into Kumo. Because as you were saying earlier, Curly, this whole Kled pick, it's kind of meant to neutralize the Tryndamere a little bit.
And
right?
it did not.
And it kind of didn't, but at the same time, it was doing, it wouldn't snowball. It was getting bigger, but it wasn't snowballing. And at some point, it was just like, Jose, please, you're Volibear, go top, ult the turret.
He never went top.
Not once.
All game.
No, and the two heralds that we got technically went top, but it was after Akuma had already rotated bot, and then the other one went mid lane, while CLG was contesting it at the time. We got the turret plates, don't get me wrong, but he dropped it while they were contesting. Yeah. So I don't know. There was like two different timing windows where he could have gone top lane, dropped the herald, and gotten turret plates for Kumo, or at least even just gone for the gank for Kumo. Like you have a Tryndamere here who's actually winning a lane that you didn't expect him to win. Like I need someone on this FlyQuest team to call out the priority switch and go, hey, sorry Johnson, you're not doing much right now. Syndra is not meant to be the carry. It's meant to be like a secondary or tertiary carry. Tryndamere, here's some gold. Go run it down side lane.
Literally,
he just never did.
If there was one gank early game and all he did was either land a single stun or disable the turret, at least 1 to 2 kills for Kumo. Because there were so many that were literally, it was just, he ran away and Kumo couldn't chase under turret.
And
so...
Yeah, and I think the frustration for me is that we've seen Kumo pop off on the trend. We know what he can do with this champion. So it's just very confusing to me that you would pick it for him, especially like a blind pick, and not try to give him some level of priority, and, you know, just leave him on the island. Tryndamere is not a, let's leave this guy on the island, you know, kind of champ. It's a, we got to get this guy rolling. You know, I mean, I think there were a couple times where he did come close to getting a few solo kills, like the one, you know, when he forced double sums off of Jenkins. There was a second time as well where Kumo came really close to solo killing Jenkins. So, like, you get those 2 kills, maybe things look a little different in some of the team fights and some of the other moments. You know, he's got an extra item, can pump out a little more damage, something like that, but yeah, just felt like we didn't do enough to get him ahead in this game, especially because the Zeri just did nothing in this game. I think there was one moment where Johnson was able to run down contracts for a kill, which honestly was kind of cool, and I was like, okay, cool, we got a kill on the Zeri. That's great. But then other things occurred, such as Luger solo killing Johnson in mid lane, and then that turning into a double kill for him when Aframu gets picked off as well, right around 22:30, and then they just run to Baron, and that's kind of when the game
was done.
The game was done at that point, and like big credit to CLG for like the aggressiveness in, hey, we got a double kill on the bot lane, let's go Baron, and it wasn't even like a flip. Like, also, I'm just ranting at this point. They went Baron 3 times. We never contested it.
Nope.
Like we didn't even try contesting it. Now I understand that at points they were pushing, you know, they were split pushing lanes. You know, we had to deal with minions in our base, but like we didn't even try to go for some kind of contest.
It has to do with the TF and the Kled, because you got the Kled in the mid lane with the rest of the team, they Zerg rush it down, and by the time you're done backing, the game's done.
Yeah.
Or vice versa with the TF, he TP's in and he backdoors you. So.
Well, which leads to another question of, were we outdrafted? And I feel like the answer is kinda.
We outdrafted ourselves, honestly.
Yeah, you played.
We were too.
Yourself,
when you're. There's a point where like you know, it's like an XY, you know, thing. It's like the Y is like gigabrain, you know, level, and then the X is like too complex, or, you know, level of difficulty of execution, right? And we like zoomed right past the level of execution, and you know, went too high on the galaxy brain meter as well. So we were just like up in that like top right quadrant of too gigabrained and too difficult to execute. But yeah, I mean, CLG up. They were up 7K at 26:30. We got the 3 kills. And there was some weird comeback hope. We even got like the shutdown on Luger, and like 1,000 gold went to Kumo. And I was like, oh. But I feel like it was just too little, too late.
It was false hope.
It was false hope. They just rushed Baron at 30. They took a really long time to close out this game, and like I think it just goes to show you that CLG is still not amazing. I feel like a better team would have closed that out faster. But
absolutely,
I feel like if we managed to pull that team fight off before they take our inhibs, this is a whole different game that we could be talking about right now. But because they inted it after they'd already, it was like, okay, delay the ending of the game like 5 minutes, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, I want to give them a penalty for that, actually. Delay of
game. Delay of game penalty. Okay, any final thoughts on the CLG match before we hit 100 Thieves? Because we got a lot to cover tonight.
Over prioritization on the Zeri. Sindra pick is random. Where is Silas? Silas goes great into this opponent's team comp. Jose Dioto was very disappointing in his pathing and a lack of priority switching to funneling resources into Kumo. Those are my big 3 takeaways from this game.
My added takeaway was the Renata felt pretty useless, or not useless, agreed. But just like the Renata did not do enough. I feel like there are better tools that Afremu is good on. It's not like there were any support bans, really. I guess technically you can call Zillion a support ban, and we banned Yumi, but like it feels like there were several options that Afro could have taken. All right, 100 Thieves, which I know several people in the chat are specifically here to discuss this.
And I'm here to talk about how badly Ahri sucks.
Well, okay, so I want you to hold on to the flame at least partially, because we're gonna do a segment in a bit here.
Okay.
So let me run through the pick ban. Yep. We ban Rise Victor Trend, another first Rise ban, by the way. They ban the Hecarim, Tom Kench, and Lee Sin, so more Jose focus here. I guess people know that Jose's good. We first pick the Nautilus. They go Volibear Leona. And then we go Ahri Zeri. So, and then they go Jinx. So they, at this point, have jungle bot lane, and we have mid bot lane. We ban Gwenzillion, and they ban Trundle Jarvan. So they ban out 2 more junglers. So that's 4 junglers, technically 5 if you count the Gwen. And they also picked Volibear, so that's like 5-6 junglers off the table at this point. They take the Vex. I really like the Vex pick here. We take the Scion and the Viego, and then Kumo gets counterpicked once again, and Someday takes the Aatrox. And I think we can just skip the rest of this game, because all I need to say is Someday Aatrox, and I think folks know how this goes from here. All right, so let's talk about this draft, because I think this is the one, more so than the CLG game, where it just felt like big draft diff. Don't like the draft. Here's my first big problem with this draft. They have so much frontline. They have Volibear. They have Leona. They have Aatrox even.
And to a certain extent, even Vex.
And to a certain extent, even Vex. And we don't have anything.
Yep.
Anything that's going to rip that front line apart. Absolutely nothing. And I think partially that comes from the early prioritization on the Ahri and Zeri.
Partially?
But, you know, I'm open to discussing that. I just don't see why you would pick Ahri Zeri into a Volibear Leona. You know, just like tunneling so hard, especially on a recently nerfed Zeri, and an Ahri that has like stupendously underperformed, even to the point now where like other pundits are like I think either Jat or Freak today were on JLXP were saying that like the Ahri is like basically said Ahri must be amazing in scrims because we are not seeing it played well on stage.
anywhere outside of like maybe the LCK. And,
yeah,
like it's only from Faker.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll pull up our weekly Ahri check while you guys discuss this.
Yeah, all right. Well, before we even get into Ahri itself, our first phase overall is kind of atrocious. Like, regardless of the fact, like we could lock Ahri in second half and it would be better than locking in it now because number one, and I accept all the flame that comes with it. But I think the stupidest thing we did was start targeting Abadaga at all. Like, respectfully, we should not send a single ban his way until the second half because he is the most inconsistent player on 100 Thieves this split. That is not to flame him. That's not to say he's bad. It's just he is the most inconsistent and has had the most problems. Why in the world would you throw your first 2 picks at him when last time we knew Takui would be better? Like, waste. You throw it at Someday, who has been their best, most consistent player throughout the split, and then Closer. Those are the 2 people you focus on banning out if you're going to focus on banning out 2 people in the first wave. So the Rise, super duper wasted. The Victor, super duper wasted. The Tryndamere, I kind of get it. We could have picked it for ourselves, but if we didn't want Someday to get it, that's fine. So, like, from the bans alone, atrocious. I hate it. Terrible. I like the Nautilus. The Nautilus first pick is very, very good. But then when we see them lock Volibear Leona, I saw it in chat, like in the FlyQuest Discord, about how something we should have picked by the end of our first ban phase was a Trundle for Jose Diodo. And I think not doing that was one of the biggest ints for us. Because it's like, all right, this is the best answer to what's already looking like a chunky team. And only became chunkier. So, like, that was, by picking Ahri over that, I think that's a huge wasted opportunity. And then picking Zeri, I don't know why we did it. We didn't have a good experience the day before. I don't know why we would double down. So, like, kind of oof moment there with first round pick. You know, because then also we get stuck in a hole for the second bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Nox. Yeah, I mean, what's your...
Curly actually nailed my thoughts for the most part.
Yeah, Curly, that was actually fantastic.
That was Curly, you nailed that. You pretty much just took my thoughts.
That was real good. I really liked the Vex pick. I wish we would see more Vex in LCS overall.
That Vex was monstrous, dude.
Yeah, I really like Vex.
Part of that is Vex is a direct counter to the Ahri. Reason being is like any dashes of any sort automatically charge up the Vex passive.
Yep.
So more fears just coming out automatically.
So what you're saying is if we want Ahri out of the LCS, we just need more teams to pick Vex into it.
So we need to pick Vex and bait them into picking
We need more Vex priority, damn it.
There's a world where we picked Vex for Takui, and for some reason Abadag was like, put me on Ahri, and we're the one that gets the 3-man ults.
No, I think he would just play something safe like Orianna or you know, Syndra at that point.
Because the thing is, you don't see Vex anymore unless it's into the Ahri. I don't know. Just I guess the matchups in the mid lane are not good for her unless it's the Ahri itself.
Did she get nerfed in the last few patches?
No, I think meta just shifted.
Is it just the matchups?
Meta just shifted pretty much.
Current matchups are not good for her. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to note a trend now. Okay, it's not a trend. You know, 1 time is a coincidence, 2 times is whatever it is, and 3 times is a trend or whatever. And
a trend, huh?
Twice in the weekend, we wait to pick Kumo until our, you know, we're on blue side twice, and we wait until R4, B4, B5 to pick him top lane, and then the enemy team counters. So we got him the trend, CLG counter with Kled. We gave him the Scion. Some daddy... I saw it in chat, and that's why it was stuck in my head. Someday, counters with the Aatrox. I said what I said. We'll just roll with it. Yeah, they counter with the Aatrox. Aatrox, if you will. I don't know in that case, are teams just focusing on, let's counterpick their top lane because we think he's the weakest player on the, he's the weakest link in the chain? I mean, is that a trend that is worthy of me seeing, or am I just, seeing ghosts right now?
No, I think that's actually pretty valid. Because I think usually just the way that Afromu and Johnson play together, it's like they succeed or fail together. So you don't need to worry about counterpicking them. And also countering ADC right now is just not a major thing that I see happening across the LCS. But then I would say Kumo could probably be perceived as the weakest link, so it's like, all right, put the pressure on there, see if it breaks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any final draft thoughts before we get into the recap here?
So I don't even need to make my point, but can you please read out the stats for Ahri right now globally?
Oh yeah. All right, cool. All right, well,
that'll be my point and my point alone.
I have a few. So here's the thing. Globally, now this includes top leagues, wildcard, and ERLs. 53% win rate. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you have just top leagues and wildcards, that drops to a 50.8% win rate. And if you only have the top leagues, so that would be LPL, LCK, LEC, and LCS, 42% win rate.
It's actually got up a little bit from last week when we checked.
It's also 36% in the LCS.
Yes, it is a 36% win rate in LCS, 39% in LPL. LEC has played 4 games of it, and LCK still has a 51.5% win rate on the Ahri.
LCK is the sole savior of that channel.
LCK basically is inflating it hardcore. Also, like, if you look in other parts of the world, actually, NA Academy has had a ton of Ahri, 47 games of it, and it's got a 60% win rate in Academy. These stats are actually insane. 60% win rate in 47 games for Academy. PCS has had 17 games of it, and they've got a 65% win rate. What are some other ones?
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to find like some other decent.
You're ruining my narrative kind of here, Sandy.
No. But here's the only thing that matters is PCS, right? Because it's like NAJs.
Yeah.
It might work elsewhere. It doesn't work here.
Yeah. So 36% win rate in LCS, right? We got to focus on our meta. Good point, Curly. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at Games of Legends, weak against for Ahri, weak against Twisted Fate, Akali, Vex, Ryze, and Azir. Wow, those all sound like champs that are pretty meta.
Abadaga can play.
And that Abadaga can play, so why are you picking the Ahri? Blind? Why are you blinding the Ahri into this man? I truly don't understand it. Okay, getting into the game. They get first drag at 6, kind of for free. Love that. And then there's the Rift Herald play at 9. So they started up, and we come to contest. Jose actually gets the steal, but unfortunately 100 Thieves is not Dignitas, and they know how to defend against someone sneaking in for a Herald Eye. We also give up first blood to the Aatrox. I have a note here saying that, like, our engage in that fight felt kind of uncoordinated. Kumo goes in with the Scion ulti, right? He goes into the Baron pit, or the Rift Herald pit, whatever. They had 3 there with a 4th very close, and we only had 3 with our 4th man still pretty far away. So they had a distinct advantage, I think, in this fight, and I'm honestly not sure why we took the fight. I felt like it was a bad fight to take, and I think we should have just
gambled.
Yeah, it was a gamble, but I felt like the percentages were pretty squarely in their favor.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Curly.
I think also, like, maybe the gamble was they were expecting to potentially die for Herald, but they wanted to get the eye so we could because it didn't feel like we were getting advantages anywhere. So it's like, all right, we'll sacrifice someone for the Herald, drop it, get some extra gold onto someone, so that we have a potential carry here.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I was going to say, Curly, was just literally, it's still more worth for FlyQuest. Even if you give up First Blood, if you get that Herald, you get the gold plates later on, and you get a little bit of map pressure due to it, it's still more worth it for us in the end. So the only reason that play, honestly, isn't worth it for us is because we don't actually pick up the eye.
Yeah, because we don't pick up the eye, and the I think a major thing that flopped there that I broke down that fight real hard in my stream today, and the two major things was, like you said, with the coordination, it took a bit too long for Jose Dioto and Takui to start going into the pit to like try and help Kumo, and so like they could have made a CC chain happen if they had reacted quicker, but they didn't. And then on top of that, Abadaga, this is the first time he does it, because he does it twice this match, where he's just sitting there, no one gives him any attention. We group up, and he's like, all right, triple ult, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So Abadaga, big brain from him, just staying off in the distance.
Abadaga had a good game that game. 100 Thieves fans, you cannot crap on him this week. Or at least for that game. He had a good game that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this definitely was a good game for him, and we'll get into it, but especially that game-ending ulti at the end, which so much to say there. They take Drake for free again at 11, so they're just kind of steamrolling on Drakes. We do get a pick on Abadage, though. If he did make a mistake in this game, that was the moment. Kumo got some plates as well, so like that. So they got Drake, but we got a kill plus plates. So I felt like we actually won out in that trade, but they're still stacking Drakes. And Kumo was like 30 CS down to Someday at 12. So not great to see that. To be fair, I don't expect him to win. I expect him to win lane against someone like Jenkins. I don't expect him to win against like a Someday person.
Well, also, Sion and the Aatrox is just not a fun match.
No, it's
Sion at all.
It's a disgusting
it's
matchup.
A terrible match.
He can knock you up 3 times, and you might be able to slow him.
Maybe.
You know?
If you hit the skill shot.
If he doesn't dash out of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not faulting Kumo for that lane.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I kind of wish he lost a little less hard, but like, you're going down in CS in that lane no matter what.
Yeah, can you lose that matchup just like by 10 CS instead of 30? You know, like you know, something like that.
You know what he should have played? Mundo. I think Mundo would have been a big
I actually kind of I haven't seen enough Mundo in pro play. I don't know why it's not actually getting picked up that often.
But like, think about it here, right? Because if we give Kumo Mundo, number one, he's still a big tank. He's still a good front line for us. Number two, I say he has way more survivability than Sion because of that healing passive. And it's like, okay, you're gonna heal a bunch. I'll heal a bunch too. We'll see who can heal more.
Yeah.
You know, so it becomes the heal off. And then, but also, because of his passive, that protects him from the Vex Spheres.
Mm.
So it's like, oh man, like I didn't think about it until literally Dr. Mundo might have. I think that would have been the much better pick for for Kumo here.
Yeah,
because
he. Yeah. Totally. No, I think
Bring
that's
it to
fair.
your draft books, Sharks, Richard.
They got second Herald for real this time, and a 2-for-1. Who he had a great stopwatch in that 2-for-1. It was
stopwatch was perfect.
Bought them so much time. That was really good.
And then he held Takui off.
Yeah, it was really good.
He killed me was Tuke missed like 3 skill shots in that fight though. Yeah. Like he could have done so much more work, and he just like all of his damage was like almost whiffed.
And that was a case of strange positioning, which is the same thing that happens in the game ending. Because it's like for some reason he was out on the right rather than going up into the jungle. Because like if he's in that position, he had managed to get skill shots that like just went nowhere because of team positioning. Where if he did the same skill shot from the different angle, because of the flow of the team fight, he would have gotten so much damage off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Tuke just didn't perform this game either.
Yeah, it was a rough game. We did get a pick on Huhi, to be fair, at 17. We got Drake for it. And I will say, at this point, coming up on 20 minutes, game was still within reach, very much. Yeah. They were only 1K up. It's
3 and 3.
Yeah, it's 2-1 for drags, so it's not like they were about to hit soul point, any minute. Game's still very much within reach, but at 22 they start up Drake, and then Tukui gets caught up in bottom river, and once he goes down, I don't know why we engaged there. 5 for 4, and our
breakdown on this.
Yeah, I mean, please hit it, because and if you have a different explanation, please. But to my layman's eye, it's okay, your mid laner's gone. Your only source of damage really is the Zeri, which can't do anything into their front line, and kind of the Viego, because Viego had 3 kills. But otherwise, you've got Scion and Nautilus. So you've got some engage, but not a lot of damage. So, yeah, what's your breakdown here?
So, if you go back and rewatch that fight, right? Yeah. So Ahri goes in and
I don't want to rewatch that fight.
Vex misses her ultimate, so she's got no ultimate. And then Tukui actually chunks Abadage for a fair portion of his health, right? Because if you look, he's actually 2 levels up on Abadage. I don't know how this happens, but he's level 14 to Abadage's level 12. He's actually surprisingly strong. And so he chunks him to probably a 5th of his health left, but also some days right there. And Tukui's been chunked a little bit. They're beginning to enter the bottom lane, and all Tukui has to do is just be like, hey, look at me. I'm the dancing monkey. Don't look at your team, look at me. That's all you got to do. And instead, he greeds it, and he tries to finish off Abadage, doesn't get it. And at that point, they immediately start heading back up. And during this time, the other 4 members of FlyQuest are in a 4v3. And they had probably about a 4 or 5 second window to do something. And that time was spent chunking down a somewhat tanky Leona, instead of going for the very visible FBI who's just sitting in the brush, free firing away. And you can see Jose Diota gets chunked for half of his HP because of that. I think if FlyQuest goes all in onto that AD carry, that's a whole different fight. And if Tuke doesn't try and greed the kill, and he's distracting 2 members at once down to the bot lane, we have the numbers advantage in both scenarios in that sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, what ends up happening is Tuke reads it, and then the other 4 members of FlyQuest try and kill Huhi, don't get it, get chunked by FBI, who's just having a grand old time free firing, and game's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just super frustrating to watch, I think. It just felt like, and this is more an overall point on the game, but also the weekend, just felt like the coordination and communication just weren't there. It felt like we regressed back to an earlier part of the season.
Lock-in. It felt like lock-in.
Yeah, it felt like lock-in, where just the communication and coordination just weren't there. And I don't know if that's also, a weird playing from home, weird environment. But it's we scrim there all the time. It's we should be comfortable playing games. So I don't know what you can really chalk it up to. I don't want to say it was anything specific, but
if I can extrapolate something out of thin air, but it's a scrim environment, right? And in scrims, aren't you just trying to kind of limit test a little bit? Are you seeing what you can and can't do?
Yeah.
And maybe Tuke tried to go back in to get the kill on Abadage. He's in that environment of I need to go try stuff.
I mean,
it's an actual game.
We've heard from players, and again, I want to make it abundantly clear, this is not in actuality what was going on, nor do we necessarily think that this is what was going on. But this is an opinion show, and we're, if we're qualified to say anything on this show, it is our opinions and our conjectures, right?
I know my opinion's best.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, we have heard from players saying, when they play from home, especially when, COVID was in full swing, not that, it isn't a thing anymore, but, when COVID was really in full swing and everyone played from home, that it was difficult to take stage games seriously because it was like, okay, I'm scrimming from my bedroom and now I'm playing LCS/LEC from my bedroom. It's like, what's the difference? Corporate needs you to find the difference between these two pictures. They're the same picture. So I do wonder if that was a little bit of what was going on. If we turn around next week and we like miraculously 2-0 GG and TL, then maybe we'll know something.
Yo, if we beat TL,
yeah,
bruh.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell is going on.
Fair. Okay, I wanna speed on through the rest of this because we still have a lot to cover. So they still got Drake at 28. Okay, this was the final team fight, and we'll cover the final team fight really quick because basically game was over from this point. We were trying to start Drake. We have no vision on Abadage this entire time. We have no idea where he is, and he's just sitting up there outside of vision of the pink ward that we had put. He lands Vex's abilities, I forget exactly which ones they are, from over the wall, right onto Kui.
Yep.
Comes in, bursts him down, and the fight's just over from there. It was an insane ulti. It was really, really good. And they get Soul and Baron, and they just literally 2 minutes later they close the game. Which, let me note, it only took them 2 minutes to close the game compared to CLG taking another 10.
And that's why they are in third place.
And that's why they are in third place, and CLG will, you heard it here first, not make playoffs. So, so there's that. All right. So to sum this game up, from my point of view, maybe you guys have another couple that you want to add. Sion, very irrelevant in this game. Zeri cannot do anything against this comp. Ahri, you know our thoughts on Ahri. Just rough team comp to play. Any additional thoughts?
Just, I don't know, man. I think we've said everything that needs to be said about this. I will say this, less about FlyQuest, more about 100 Thieves, and you'll hear it on 100 Talk later because I told Cole this specifically. 100 Thieves look like they're normal, look like they are playing how people expect them to.
Mm-hmm.
So good looks for them. You guys really put on a good show, preventing us from sweeping you, unfortunately. But hey, till we meet again, next time we'll play better.
Yeah, in playoffs, right?
And we won't int draft.
Fair enough.
Hopefully we will not int draft. Yeah,
all right.
I think my biggest takeaway from this weekend is just hopefully Sharks and Richard catch up on the patch notes again. Like, maybe a coincidence, who knows? But our 2 worst weeks have been on brand new patches.
Yeah. Again, like I said earlier about Kumo getting counterpicked, twice. It's a pattern, so. All right. Welcome to a new segment on the show. Welcome to Bait or Great. This is a podcast within a podcast. I'm actually stealing that joke from another show. This is a podcast within a podcast where we discuss LCS picks and if they are bait or if they are great. And the first one, Nox, you don't get to discuss this one because I know your thoughts, so I don't want to know how you feel. Curly, Ahri, is she bait or is she great?
I mean, given the statistics we talked earlier in the LCS, going to have to say that it is bait. It has the potential to be great if you are in the LCK, your name is Faker, and you have 4 Zoomers who finally learned how to play the game with you. However, in this case, you're Takui, and I love you, Takui. I believe in LFL supremacy, but you're struggling from home, and, for everyone else in the LCS who's had the misfortune of being baited by this pick, it is a big bait. I can see why you might want to pick it. I mean, it's pretty fun. She gets to dash around, being all slick. going pew 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 with her little Fox missiles, sending a Q through that gives her a little random sustain that people forget about, myself included. And, you know, that sweet little charm that can just catch ADCs lacking and get them killed. But you gotta be able to use your kit, and you gotta be able to get a lead, which is something most Ahris can't do in the LCS. So, once again, big old bait. Throw it on the hook, cast it out, reel it in. That's an L for your enemy.
Big old bait. All right, Nox, your turn. Zeri, bait or great? Now, I will be fair, and I didn't give Curly this option, but I knew what he was going to say. If it's in the middle, if it's like not bait and it's not great, you can say it's like meh, you know. But Zeri, bait or great? How are we feeling here?
I would definitely say it's no longer great, but I don't think it's bait either. It's been knocked down on the priority poll a little bit. You gotta be far more considerate of what the enemy team is picking to pick her now.
Would you? So I mean, I would agree. Not necessary to ban it in first ban phase, sure. But is it still high enough of a priority that you rush to pick it like we did? Or should teams be looking to, see what the team comp looks like, for, get a better idea of what the other team is playing? Because in a lot of the games that we've been playing, I've noticed, and a lot of other games I've seen, feels like bot lane, like both ADC and support, are getting snapped up for both teams in first pick phase, right? That seems to be a priority where you lock down your bot lane, usually your jungler as well, but sometimes the mid will come out. But usually we're seeing bot lane getting locked down. So should you be rushing to pick the Zeri if it does get through the ban phase now?
No. It's still absolutely like B2 B3able or R3 or R2 R3 beable. Beable, whatever. You know what I mean? R3able. But yeah, you actually have to be considerate of what the enemy team comp is now. It's not like it was back on 12.4 where you got it through and you're gonna suddenly start seeing Danny zooming around getting pentakills with it. Like it's not that level of pick anymore. Yeah. But it can absolutely still pop off if you're playing it against the right champions.
Totally.
Now you want to hear a wild statistic about Zeri? Or rather comparison of statistics?
Please.
What do you think her pick ban rate is in the LCS?
Stall for time, Nox, while I look it up.
No.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess. So, like, just a percentage, Curly?
Yeah, just a percentage.
Let's go with 88%.
You're low. What about you, Sandy?
In LCS, shoot. Dang it, I can't pull it up in time. Am I right in seeing that it's 62%, or am I totally wrong?
No, it is 98.5%.
Dang.
Where are you seeing that?
If I'm guessing correctly, because what I'm looking at here is like in 98.5% of games, she is either picked or banned, meaning there's, I want to say only, I'm guessing here, 1 or 2 games this entire split, and I think it includes lock-in, where Zeri has not been on the pick or ban for some reason. And that is 9% ahead of Jinx, who has an 89% pick ban rate. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so high up. Now, to contrast that, of the 64 games she has been in, she's only won 36.4% of them. So I'm going to go off on a limb and throw in my hat and say it's a bit baity, especially at this point in the game. Personally.
Yeah.
Fair
enough. All right. That was Bait or Great. Thank you for listening to our show within a show. I'll get like I'll come up with like a real jingle
for it. Tune or something.
Yeah, a little jingle or something. All right.
It's great.
This is an important topic that I want to discuss. Strength of schedule, the remaining strength of schedule. We've only got 5 games left in the season now, and I think it's important to discuss who we've got left, where things kind of stand, the playoff picture, if you will. So our remaining opponents, this week it's going to be, and we'll preview this in a moment, Golden Guardians and Team Liquid. Oof. And then Super Week, it's the same teams that we played in the first Super Week. It's EG, Immortals, and Cloud9. So we still have the top 2 teams in the league left. And then we've got 3 teams that are below us. So if you purely based this off of, record, right? Okay, and how each team has been performing, you could say, like, okay, should beat Immortals, Golden Guardians, and probably EG, and then lose to C9 and Team Liquid, and then that would put us at, like, 10-8. But if you, drop any of those or somehow randomly beat C9 or TL, things get a little shifty. But that is a very difficult, I would say, strength of schedule remaining. Immortals is not a pushover team. Golden Guardians, they're on a 4-game losing streak. Actually, Immortals is on a 5-game losing streak as well. But EG is kind of weird, right? They're 6-7, and then it's Cloud9, Team Liquid. I feel like you can almost chalk those up as automatic L's. Like, not even, I would give us like a 5% chance of winning those games. So feels difficult. And then looking at some of the teams around us, so we're tied with Dignitas, and then EG, one of the teams we play, is right behind us. So those are the 2 teams I want to focus on in terms of strength of schedule. EG has Dig, 100 Thieves, us, Golden Guardians, and CLG. So they're done with TL and C9. So I would say they probably have the easier strength of schedule in comparison to us. And then Dignitas has EG, Golden Guardians. Okay, sounds kind of similar to us. They have Cloud9 and TL and 100 Thieves left. In their Super Week is rough. Cloud9, TL, 100 Thieves.
Dignitas is just a bad time.
I would almost chalk that up as like an 0-3 Super Week for them, most likely. So the best I can see them doing is like 9-9. So
they have to go 2-0 this weekend.
Yeah, they basically have to go 2-0 this weekend. So that's it. I would say Dig probably has a slightly tougher strength of schedule than we do, but we're not very far behind them. And EG has an easier one. What are y'all's thoughts on how that stacks up? I feel like TLC9 final week is just like, oof,
For Dignitas, that's just a bad time.
Yeah, and then us TL next week and C9 the week after that. I mean, that's just not a good time.
It's not a good time. Thankfully, though, as you mentioned earlier, both Golden Guardians and Immortals seem to be in a bit of a slump right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm not actually feeling the worst. I'm really, really hoping that at worst we pull out a 2-3 and we improve. We're gonna end 9-9 with perfect 50% record, which, you know what?
That gets you playoffs,
It's playoffs, and that's what Nick promised all the fans. That's what I was honestly just hoping for at the beginning of the split. So yeah, if we manage to go 2-3 over the next 2 weeks, am I going to be a little upset about it? Yeah, sure, but like I'm sure as hell going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, it's C9 TL are probably losses. Golden Guardians and Immortals should be wins, but, we just saw us lose a should-be win against CLG. And then EG, I think we can beat them. It's not like they have looked amazing. So, could very easily be a 3-2 or a 2-3. Just not exactly sure yet. Curly, I mean, what are your thoughts on these final games?
I think as long as we stay on top of our stuff, as long as we take this week as a lesson and have some like important discussions and start performing as a team properly,
mm-hmm.
we can certainly expect the 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always nervous about EG because like they haven't performed to my expectations all split, but just on paper they should perform better, and so they're very much a coin toss for me. But we're definitely not winning to TL or C9 unless they have the worst of days. Like I'm just gonna be flat out there. As it is right now, we'll have to wait till summer for us to be able to take them down, or a fluke in playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just have to make sure we actually beat Immortals this time. And just keep it up against GG.
Yeah. What do you guys think of EG's strength of schedule? So that's Dig, 100 Thieves, CLG, Golden Guardians, us.
I'm thinking they have it so easy in week 8.
I mean, I think they could easily go 4-1 to finish out the season.
Yeah, I think there's a strong chance to go 4-1. They could drop more, like, because they've been a weird team all split, right? Like, they could absolutely drop more, but I would.
I mean, they could randomly.
That's on 4-1.
They could randomly beat 100 Thieves and lose to Dig. You know, just like all kinds of weird stuff could happen.
Or even us. Who knows?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. This kind of like 4 through, I guess I'm gonna say 8 is interesting because like I'm pretty much counting out Immortals. CLG and Golden Guardians are like right there, but like I don't expect a lot from them, especially GG right now. So there's that. So speaking of GG, let's get into the Week 7 preview. We are taking on the Golden Guardians and Team Liquid. And let me pull up... let me get our... I don't know why it disappeared from the thing again. That's unfortunate.
The Excel sheet.
The Excel sheet disappeared once again. It just simply does not want to exist. You might okay. Yeah, there's my tweet deck. So congrats, you can see that.
The Excel sheet is busy scrimming for playoffs. They're not used to it.
Close out of that. So let's talk about Golden Guardians first while I pull this up. Curly, you guys can see Kelsey Moser retweeted something from Unified, so that's real nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just create a brand new source. Super annoying. This happens literally every week, and I don't know why it just doesn't want to work with me.
For the time being, I guess while you're pulling it up, Golden Guardians, I'm not very high on. I'm not sure how much stock to put into this. But there have been rumors flying around on Twitter that Pride Stalker may not be playing this week.
Whoa.
They're like very, very quiet rumors, but there have been like kind of rumors that I have actually seen popping up on my timeline. I'm not putting a lot of stock into it, but just throwing it out there.
Is there like, what's the reasoning behind it?
LCS Eevee is the biggest Twitter account that I've seen talking about it. But
okay.
The reason behind it is something to do... Well, actually, there wasn't really much reasoning behind it. It was just that Golden Guardians was looking for a possible substitute player to bring up in replacement of Pride Stalker because they don't want to bring Iconic up in replacement of him.
Yikes. They really don't like Iconic, do they?
Like I said, Iconic's actually been one of the best junglers in Academy this season, believe it or not.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of improvements. So that's why I'm not putting a lot of stock into this rumor, but the fact that I've seen it on a couple of Twitter accounts is something that I'm like, okay, there's at least talk about something happening.
Do they just think he's just not performing well, or is it like an issue that he has, like a personal issue?
I'm assuming it's a personal issue because it's the way the tweets were sounding, it was like just for the 1 week, not for Super Week.
I would be super shocked if they just don't bring up Iconic because he's already in the Golden Guardian system. So that'd be super strange. But we'll have to keep an eye on that.
What McDonald's junglers are available out there?
Well, Cloud9 just signed Svenskeren for a backup coaching role, so he's not around. Could randomly get someone from Amateur. I don't know.
I'm not really sure, and I'm not putting.
You could fly Broxa over here for a week.
I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. It's just something
Totally
I wanted
fair.
to bring up and mention because we are playing them this week, and if it was like one tweet that I saw, I'd be like, all right, whatever. But I did see like 3 or 4 tweets about it on my timeline. So
yeah, no, that could be interesting. All right, I don't think either way, for me personally, whether Pride Stalker plays or not, I still have us winning this game. Yeah, I think the lost Ole bot lane is outmatched by Johnson Afro. I think Tukui did really well into ABO last time. Jose, I think, is better than Pride Stalker so far this split, and if they bring in a sub, definitely better than whoever they bring in. The Licorice Kumo matchup is interesting, but I mean, I'm putting myself down as a hashtag fly win versus Golden Guardians. How are you guys feeling?
I also think it'll probably be a fly win. Again, I'll do this for the weekend forecast. Licorice has been playing a lot of Gnar. So I'd actually like to see something that counters Gnar, this would be really, really weird, but I mean, Kumo has been playing carries, but almost something like a Yasuo, because Yasuo plays very, very well into Gnar. I'd like to see something like really, really strong for Kumo this weekend for playing into Licorice. Then I'm more than confident that Tukui can hold his own against ABO, because ABO is probably, in my opinion, the best player on that team. And then our bot lane matches pretty well with Lost and Ole, because I actually think Lost and Ole have been pretty solid. They're not like the best by any stretch of the imagination, but like they've held their ground. I think they've been they've been on okay bot lane. And then I think Jose can, if the team can actually get eyes on the Pride Stalker, because I think that's kind of one of our biggest faults right now, is that we don't keep track of the enemy jungler and they kind of just run over us, aka Xerxes, aka Closer, aka Contracts. If we can keep an eye on Pride Stalker, I think Jose is more than smart enough in his pathing and his mechanics to be able to prioritize who he needs, aka in this case, I think it should be Kumo, and snowballing the lead that way.
How would you feel if Kumo, if Liko picks the Gnar, how would you feel about an Irelia or an Ornn game from him?
Irelia counters Gnar as well. I would be
exactly
to see that Irelia.
Exactly.
I'm not well versed in knowledge of Ornn into Gnar, if I'm being completely honest.
I just pulled up u.gg and looked for Gnar counters, if I'm being honest. So.
At pro level play, I don't know anything about Ornn into Gnar. I'm not gonna try and spout any knowledge. I do know Gnar into Irelia is a pain for the Gnar though. So more than anything, I think, heck, even. Well, I don't want to see the Tryndamere because Tryndamere doesn't go on with an arm, even though he actually played it pretty well the one time he did play that matchup. I'd rather give him something that has a little bit of more of an advantage. So, yeah, ideally, I want to see Kumo on a carry this weekend going into Licorice, and I think we can get a win out of it.
Fair. Curly, hit GG and then start us off with TL, please.
All right, hit with GG. All that needs to be said is we're better. We need to play like it. We need to draft like it. We win.
Hopefully we're back on stage. I love it. Great. Boom.
That's all that needs to be said about GG after all, to wrap it up. TL, flip side, not a lot to say here. Simply, our best chance, in my opinion, is through the mid lane. That bot lane, pretty scary.
Disgusting.
That jungler.
It should be illegal. That bot lane should be illegal.
Han Sam and Core JJ.
True. Yeah, that bot lane, pretty scary. That jungler, he knows us. He's been with us. Also, he's just solid. And then that top laner, how do you predict against him?
You can't. He just busted out the Jax versus Tryndamere this weekend.
It's not even... No, the Jax makes sense.
No, I know.
I'm thinking about.
Yeah, the Lucian.
That was... It wasn't the most effective, but it's like, yeah, so I don't think we win here. I think TL is, nipping at Cloud9's heel, and they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. Nox.
So.
Oh boy.
Something I want to bring up here.
Oh boy, here we go.
Is that this week we're playing both games on red side.
Ooh.
So,
Kumo top pick, PogChamp?
I mean, we have the statistic already for Kumo that says if we, like, when he gets his counter pick, he is 4-0, right? Like, he has not yet lost when he gets his counter pick. So, with that said, especially against Blippo, I'm really hoping we get a counter pick against him, right? I don't want to see, like, let Takui eat the blind pick if possible. Like, I know he can handle Bjerg for the most part for whatever is needed. But please, for the love of God, just give Kumo the counter pick.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets that, I think we might be okay. With that said, though, TL is still a terrifying monster. Their timings, their synergy, just everything. It's so stupidly good. If we want to pull out a win this weekend, the two things I need to see are the counter pick for Kumo and maybe TL trying out some weird picks because they don't respect us or they think we're below them, which, I mean, to a certain extent we are, right? But, like, if they happen to pull out another Shyvana for some reason and it just doesn't look like it's doing much, there's a chance there. But at the end, I am still going to predict TL to win this match.
Yeah, no, totally fair. I think I'm on that page as well. I'm on the TL page for this game. I mean, yeah, I think Han's core is just cracked. Legitimately unfair. Bwippo's just been super good. I think number 2 top laner behind Summit for sure. I just think this team is they just outstack us in every sense of the word in terms of experience, mechanical ability, and like that's not to say that I think like I don't think we're bad, right? Like I think we're actually a decent middle of the pack team. I just think that TL and Cloud9 for me are just so far ahead of everyone else that for the other 8 teams in this league, it's a race for third place in that final world spot. So until I see something different, I'm just taking TLC9 in pretty much every game they play because it's just the safe money. So, so that is that. All right, so that is our rankings. Not our rankings, our preview. Now we're gonna hit something we don't often get to hit on the show, and I'm actually really excited to another little segment, the Smash moment. We've got a Smash Melee update for Kodorin. This past weekend, the man went to, where did he go? Oakland, California for the Town Throwdown, Episode 1. Pretty big pot. Episode 1, the SoCal Invasion, $500 pot bonus, as it reads on Smash.gg. And our boy ran through the bracket. He did super well in this. There were 100 players in total for this Smash tournament. So not, this was not like a tiny little local that he came and rolled over everyone. He looked really good from the games that I was able to see. He did pretty well. Felt like he was in control pretty much every match he played. Overall, he went, in terms of game score, 19-5 across all his matches, and I think he played 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches, right? And he only dropped 5. I want to note he had 1, 2, 3, 4. He had 5 best of 5s, and he only went to a game 5 once in all of those, and then in winners, semis, and grand final, he played, I think it's Magi, and he beat her 3-1 both times, and Magi is not someone to sneeze at, right? That is a top 20 Melee player right there. She's
very good.
Yeah, she is very, very good. I mean, Kodorin is also very, very good, top Is he like top 5 right now? Where is he ranked?
He's ranked top 10.
Top 10. He's top 10. Should be top 5, IMO. He's getting there. But I really wanted to bring this up because Credorn's been doing a lot. He's doing Training Mode Tuesdays, now officially sponsored by FlyQuest, which is really dope. Feels like he's really been ramping up. I mean, if you just pull up his... if you pull up how he's done, he won a couple locals in LA. He won both Lawless Melee number 2 and number 3. He just came into this 100-person event in Oakland and won that. Looks like he's got Smash Camp 2022 this coming weekend. That's in Prescott, Arizona. 263 attendees. Let me see what the Melee singles bracket looks like right now. 161 entrants. So pretty big tourney. I'm trying to see who is so I see Kudorin, SFAT's going to be there, Axe. I'm just trying to see like who the big names are in this Smash.gg doesn't always tell you who like the big people are, but definitely some big names in this tournament. So please be sure to tune into that this weekend. I'm looking for what the Twitch link is right now. Can't find it, but we will definitely. I'll retweet that on the Flight Check Crew Twitter, and you can definitely go check that out because that's going to be a great tournament. Would really love to see him come away with a dub. Especially as he starts to look to, just really prepare for Genesis 8, which got postponed back to April 15th through 18th. And that's going to be the really big one for us to pay attention to. So, with all that said, continue supporting the man, supporting his streams, his practice streams, and Training Mode Tuesdays. Keep showing the love there. I think FlyQuest is dropping like $1,000.
$1,000.
Basically $1,000 every week, which is actually crazy for Melee. It's actually a ton of money in that scene. So that is that. And then finally, I know I'm talking a lot, but we're gonna end the show momentarily. The fantasy recap. The Flight Check Fantasy LCS season is the regular season is over. Myself and Noxwar are the 2 worst teams in this league. So don't take.
You really?
Yes, since Sly Penguin beat me this past week, which I've got complaints about that. You and I are 7th and 8th. I will note, Nox, that you did have the most points against. So basically, you got screwed every single week.
Yeah, every week, dude. Number 1 in points against. And
basically,
I'm like for points for.
Turbo unlucky. And then I will note the person who took first place, Road Roller, first place in points for, but also the least points against. So Noxwar Turbo unlucky and Road Roller Turbo lucky is the takeaway. I think playoffs, it's going to be Road Roller versus Ricebox, and then our very own Curly QQ takes on TMB. Those are the semifinal matchups, and we will be sure to keep you updated on who wins in Week 7 and who's in the grand final for Week 8. I don't think we talked about any kind of like prizing, especially because we're already in this, but if like
maybe for summer we'll do something.
I'll just say it right now. If Road, TMB, or Ricebox win this, I'll gift them 10 RP, $10 in RP. That's the prize for winning the Flight Check Fantasy League. So set your auto picks and bans correct. You heard it here first.
No, nothing for Curly though.
You're on the show. I can't just. It looks like I'm just like embezzling by giving you money if I do this. Yeah. Totally. All right. That is pretty much everything. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Flight Check. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. For all the instant reactions and thoughts as we head into Week 7 of LCS this weekend, you can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at Noxwar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well, where all kinds of esports discussion and otherwise takes place, including things like Noxwar's birthday, which was yesterday. So happy 26th birthday to the man himself. Can't believe I totally forgot to say something at the top of the show. We'll VoD review that later, I'm sure. Speaking of VoDs, if you missed any part of the episode, the VoD of this show will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow, as well as here, right on Twitch. And if you just want the audio-only version, so you can go listen in your car to our sweet dulcet tones, that'll go up on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, all your favorite spots tomorrow morning. If you are listening to that right now and you want to catch the show live, come hang out every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Nox, any final notes, or if we missed a topic that you wanted to ramble about for a moment, now is your time to shine.
The finals for Proving Grounds Open Qualifiers ends tomorrow. I didn't see who won the second match yet, but I know no team is in the finals, and then we're waiting on the winners of Immortals AoE versus Taco Gaming. So one of those two will be playing tomorrow in the grand finals. It'll be a best of 5. Go watch that. And then later this week, I think on Wednesday, the Academy team who finished 8th seed, which, hey, we moved up a spot. They will be playing more than likely Wildcard Aces this Wednesday for the play-in stage of Proving Grounds.
Nice. Very, very nice. Yeah. Curly, anything that you wanted to throw out there?
This is the recap before the promos and all that, and shout out.
This is the promos and shout out moment.
This is the promos and shout out moment. Cool. In case you didn't see it in the 3 Discords I put it in today, or on my Twitter, I am super hype. I'm running my own March Madness League of Legends 1v1 next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, March 26th. So it is going to be during Super Week, but that's the Saturday I could get off this month. And nice. The grand prize is a hefty amount of RP or a FlyQuest Basics tee. So if you want a t-shirt or just a good amount of RP to buy whatever skins you want, please enter. It's going to be a really fun time. I'm putting a lot more into this than my Christmas Clash, which was really fun. Noxwar swung by that for a bit. It's going to be really good. So register for that. The link is on my Twitter. It's in my Discord. It's just do it. Contact me if you have any questions. And hopefully I can get permission to put that in the FlyQuest Discord because I'm giving away a FlyQuest shirt. We'll see, maybe. So that's that. But then also something else that happens every Monday before Flight Check is I do VoD review after hopefully winning 2 ranked games. So if you want to see me review the FlyQuest VoDs and get my more in-depth thoughts than I do on the show and watch my reactions as we throw really silly games or win really crazy games, please swing by. It's a good time and I enjoy it thoroughly. Noxwar consistently said Ahri's bad, then left, and then came back and said Ahri's bad today. And it's honestly, I live for the engagement. So yeah, those are 2 major things I want to promote. And then also 100 Talk Pod is live now, gloating soon, I'm sure, about winning over us. So shout out to them.
We'll go rate them, definitely. Yeah. For my part, Champions Queue Split 2 has started up, so be sure to support the FlyQuest gang anytime you see them streaming it, or if they are in a Champions Queue game that is, on a stream somewhere, go check it out. Make sure to, spread the FlyQuest propaganda anywhere you can, and get, more FlyQuest fans out there, which means more listeners on our show, which means, more followers, more subs. We have greater influence in the esports content scene. Everyone wins. It's a great thing. That is all for us. we'll be back right here next Monday, 8 p.m. to talk about Week 7, hopefully celebrating a 2-0, hopefully celebrating not an 0-2. So, we'll see how that goes. But for now, stay safe out there. Please do not forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, y'all.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.